Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the first podcast of 2022. If I could keep saying that without stuttering, it's Pure Finesse with Jay and Money Malcolm. Malcolm, I'm still kind of shocked we're in 2022. Getting old.
When you said it, I completely forgot. I'm not even gonna lie. It doesn't feel like a new year. With COVID and everything, Ontario go back into lockdown. It just feels like 2020 and 2021 all over again. So
Yeah, it's a Taylor
something
Swift kind of day because I don't know about you, but I am feeling 22.
nice one.
Yeah, it's not as cringy as it usually gets, but today this is usually the first week of the playoffs coming into the NFL, but instead this year they had to add an extra game to make it a 18-week regular season and a 17 game regular season or 17 games played. I can't speak. No more teams can finish 500 except for one, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers due to a tie with the Detroit Lions. But I'm
If we
sure you want
miss
to
the
get into
playoffs,
the game yesterday because you were feeling yourself, to say the least.
oh yeah, me and Mr. Lions fan himself, Jake Eagles, were watching the game last night. Browns versus Steelers. Steelers needed to win to keep their playoffs hopes alive. Most likely,
Slim
Big Ben's
playoff hopes
last.
alive.
Pardon?
Slim playoff hopes alive.
Slim hope, like 8%. But Big Ben's last home game in Heinz Field too, most likely. So emotional. The interviews got me emotional. The game got me emotional. But great way to end it with Najee. I know you don't like this, but Najee Harris with that touchdown sealing the deal. And what happened? What happened because of that?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only person that happened to this.
Yeah.
That happened last night, but Najee Harris screwed me. Thank you very much for winning my fantasy football league. I lost by 0.6, and that was due to Najee Harris not running out the clock, but let's go in and score a touchdown with, I think, 50 seconds, 45 seconds left to go in the game. Cleveland had 0 timeouts. So could have just ran it for a first down. The game would have ended, and I would have been very, very happy. But no, he decided to pad the stats and score a touchdown. So a sincere thank you, sincere to Najee Harris for screwing me of a fantasy football championship.
I just love to see it. But
nice.
But with the games coming to a close now, the the NFL playoffs are looking like they're going to be a lock soon. There's maybe a few movements that can be made.
It's still pretty fluent.
Yeah, in the AFC, the wild cards, you can get in the wild card there with a few teams. The NFC, there's only, I think, one more team left in the hunt with this. I think it's the Saints. Let's get into it. What's teams first? I can't even read.
Well, yeah, because if you haven't noticed, Mr. Gobase doesn't have any reading help today. So
yeah,
the only team that has clinched the number 1 seed in either division, either conference, I should say, is the Green Bay Packers, finishing first out of the NFC North. They dominated. I shouldn't say dominated, but played very well against the Minnesota Vikings and played very well against the Browns on Christmas. Yeah. Is this not the most prolific offense in the NFL right now?
Like, they're just amazing. Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and then of course MVP Aaron Rodgers.
MVP.
They're just playing. And then you have a lot of people saying he's the lock right now, and you have other weapons. Alan Lazard on the team too. He's been playing great. You feel like if Devontae Adams isn't open, which he is probably 99% of the time because he makes himself open, you still have all those other weapons you can get to. But one thing though is weird. I think Aaron Rodgers said even though they clinched, he wants to play the Lions next week. He still wants to play. He doesn't want to rest. He doesn't want to maybe just take a rest and not get injured, but he wants to play and win. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think he should do that?
Yeah, I think that's actually crazy to have Aaron Rodgers play in the last game against the Detroit Lions of all teams, because it really isn't much of a meaningful game for either team, really, because I'm sure Detroit Lions fans want them to lose, and it's kind of irrelevant if the Packers win or not because they've already clinched the 1 seed. But it was very interesting to hear his post-game conference after the game, is that this is the first game he's felt in a long time that he's had no issue with his pinky toe. He hasn't had he didn't get a pre-game painkiller shot before, and there was 0 pain after or during the game. So, I mean, that's take his word for it. Take it as it may, because we took his word for it about 2 or 3 months ago that he was immunized.
Yeah.
So I'm take that like a grain of salt for what he thinks was right with him. So I really don't have a definitive answer of what would happen because I'm sure Matt LaFleur does not want Aaron Rodgers to play, but Aaron Rodgers wants Aaron Rodgers to play.
It feels like Aaron Rodgers is the real coach of that team. Sometimes when he's looking over at the sideline, be like, what are you talking about? Like, let me just do my own thing.
Well, I think that kind of stems from the NFC Championship game last year with how they handled their in-game management of sorts, not leaving Aaron Rodgers out there on 4th down and kicking a field goal. And I think that's kind of ironic because I think that's the real only problem that Green Bay's had this year is the field goal kicker and Mason Crosby. He's missed I think he's destined for Canton, but he's definitely had an off season this year. He's missed a lot of field goals for sure.
Just getting older. That's all it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy who's just want to talk about getting older. The guy's been doing it for a long time. On your Pittsburgh Steelers at one point, Antonio Brown made some headlines on Sunday against the Jets. A lot of misconstrued information, a lot of stories coming out of what actually happened. What's your take on it? I really want to know because you were probably the biggest
man. It's ABB. I can't be an advocate anymore. It's just AB being AB. You saw him on the Steelers having the locker room drama and everything. The Colts, not the Colts, the Raiders, he just didn't want to be there and he's caused drama there. The Pats, he actually was fine with the Pats for that one game, but then they cut him after he did some shady stuff. And then with the Bucks, I don't know. He's just got a temper on him. I think he just feels like he can do whatever he wants and he's going to get away with it because he's back in the league time and time again. I was just looking at the season stats this year. If he played a full season, at his rate, he would have had like 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns and over 100 receptions. But he chooses to get suspended for lying about his vaccine card or his vaccination too. I don't know. The guy's just he's got to deal with some other stuff. He's still in New York right now. He was at the basketball game, the Nets game last night. And then he dropped the rap song too on SoundCloud. So I don't know what's going on with him.
He's Dennis Rodman 2.0.
Yeah, basically he's the Dennis Rodman in the NFL.
But he's going to miss a lot of cash coming his way and not playing the next, or no, I should say the next 2 games. He really didn't play on Sunday, but he's going to miss out on approximately $1.3 million in bonus money. Realistically, he's probably missing out about just around $666,000 because 2 of them were surefire. I think one was only 55 more yards to get 330,000. Really? I think one was 2 touchdowns or something like that. Something very, very minuscule that really could have happened, but he decided not to do it and leave mid-game, which I don't think we're ever going to see in our lifetimes ever again and probably won't. And
based off all his clothes,
the information that has been being passed around of what actually happened on the sideline is there's 2 different sides of it. One is that Antonio Brown just didn't want to go into the game because he was injured and Bruce Arians wanted him out there. And there was another side of the argument saying that Bruce Arians wanted to bench him and AB wanted to play because he wanted to get this bonus money.
Yeah.
So there's 2 very different sides of the story.
With him, it's probably about the money too. So I don't know what to believe with that guy. It's just like Rodgers. You don't know what to believe when he talks or what he says. And it just seems like he's a locker room cancer wherever he goes.
It's a fair shout. I mean, I live by the fact that if you get released by the Patriots, that's the ultimate kiss of death in the NFL because they're the model organization and the model coach in Bill Belichick, who really does not give 2 left thumbs of what you think and how you act outside of football. And it's really a shame because Tampa Bay needs Antonio Brown because of all the injuries that they're going to have to deal with going into the playoffs because Mike Evans, we know, is on 100%. Chris Godwin's not going to be there. And now no Antonio Brown. So Tampa Tom has got his work cut out for him to make it a repeat championship. Yeah,
and we can see if he do it. I don't know if the GOAT can do it with all these weapons now, but he's still got that good defense. And I don't know, they always find a way to get these nobody wide receivers to, like with Tom Brady, to play amazing. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Another team that's really been we don't know what they're thinking about right now is the Dallas Cowboys. They clinched their division. They're safely into the playoffs. They got to clinch a home game next week. But again, a ton of question marks for them going into the playoffs, and they got to find their way because they're not going to have an NFC stacked, to tell you the truth. And it's not going to get easier for them because they lost Michael Gallup last week or on Sunday to a torn ACL. And Dak and Amari Cooper's chemistry, I would think, is at an all-time low right now.
Yeah, it's just not there. And Amari Cooper wants to go he said at the beginning of the season, he wants to prove himself to be the best receiver in the league. Well, he has not done that. It is still Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp, wherever you think it may be this season. But it's not Amari Cooper. I'm not even sold. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sold on these Cowboys. Like few of their past few wins have been against some easy teams, against the Giants, the football team, and
Hey, it's
they're
like the
playing.
football team in a month. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Their new name, new logo, and everything. I'm excited
New
to see
year,
what they're
new
gonna
me.
be. 2022. But I just not sold on the Cowboys. I don't think they're gonna go far in these playoffs at all.
I like their defense a lot, but Micah
Trevon
Parsons, I
Diggs,
think,
though?
really should. I know you're not going to be agreeing with me, Mr. TJ Watt fan, but I think Micah Parsons should be getting some votes for the defensive player of the year because he's been
I agree.
out of this world for the Dallas Cowboys. And to tell you the truth, I think Trayvon Diggs is overrated. He
Thank you.
likes
I was about to say.
he makes a lot of picks, so he's going to be up there for probably the rookie record for all time interceptions in a season. But I saw this the other day that he's given up more than 1,000 yards of coverage this year.
Most in the NFL.
Most in the NFL. He makes the flashy plays, but because
He gets
that's all
beat
you
so
see on the
bad.
highlights. But
Yeah,
is he a
gets
lockdown
beat
corner?
so bad. Pardon?
Is he a lockdown corner though?
Oh, he is not a lockdown corner. He gets beat. It's either he gets broken or he gets a lucky interception. There's no in between.
Well, I wouldn't say it's lucky. He's pretty good at jumping routes, but I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it's more receptions than interceptions for Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
I think honestly, still, we said this in April when we were doing an NFL draft, is that Patrick Surtain is still the best rookie cornerback in the league, even though he plays for the Denver Broncos. Watch some of the Denver Broncos games, as I watched it on Sunday when they played the Chargers. He's automatic.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's seriously
Where is he out of?
Alabama. Fuck you. Very funny. Another team in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles. They've kind of turned their season around now at a 500 record at 9-7. They kind of found their identity the last couple of weeks. Rather than try to air it out and play the deep ball, they found their way on the ground. But they're, I think, what is that guy? Miles Sanders, running back for Philly, has barely played this year. I think he's maybe played 2 or 3 games.
Yep.
And that's their identity right now. And he's hurt. I think he's got a broken hand, so he's not going to be playing very much. And I don't know if you saw this either, but a whole bunch of players went on the COVID list on Monday, like Fletcher Cox, Boston Scott, but not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is safe. And they have to win this, not necessarily have to win this because they've clinched, but I would say they have to get a higher seed because I think they have a very tough time winning if they have to play a higher seed in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, and like you said, the NFC is just stacked right now. The top 3 teams, Green Bay, LA, and Tampa Bay. And then obviously the Cowboys right there. And then the number 1 wild card's Arizona, who should be at the top there, but they're not. So it's going to be tough for those lower seeds for sure. Who's the other one again? It's the Eagles
San Francisco.
So, I'm surprised they're still in. I didn't think they were going to get in, honestly, with all what was going on in the season, but they turned their season, not turn their season around. They just won their games that they needed to and got in that spot. So, but did they clinch too then?
No, San Francisco hasn't.
So they haven't clinched. Okay.
Yeah, later on we'll get into all the seeding scenarios because it is definitely a headache for some teams trying to get in. But Philly, Jalen Hurts, I remember they were talking about a month ago about benching Jalen Hurts for Gardner Minshew.
No.
And I don't know if I know because I have him in fantasy. I know it's not they don't have glamorous numbers, but he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback.
Really?
Does a lot with his feet. And I think that's kind of Nick Sirianni's found out that that's their identity. It's not passing the ball. It's more run pass option or quarterback draw read option, a lot of college style plays. And it's worked because they found a way to win games, not necessarily against the most glamorous of teams, but playoffs are the playoffs.
Exactly. You got in there. So it doesn't matter if I know that in the beginning of the season, they were just on a losing streak for a while, and I did not think for a chance that they have a playoff shot, and they just turned it around. So it's good to see, but I also hate every team in the NFC East. So I'm not a fan that they've gone to the playoffs, but good for them.
Well, I know your boy, Lions fan, Jake Eagles knows all about the cornerback who's making some serious names for Philly. That's Darius Slay. He's definitely found his niche in Philly. I've always been a kind of a big fan of Darius Slay, even though he's been on some terrible Detroit teams, but he's making it to the Pro Bowl this year. Should be an honorable mention for the All-Pro team. If Trayvon Diggs makes the All-Pro team, I think there's some serious issues.
Yeah. It's just about the big names. Like Lamar Jackson making the Pro Bowl this year. I don't think he should have made it.
Well, I think he got voted in.
Oh, is it because he got voted in? Like Joe Burrow should have got in instead of Lamar.
I'm sorry, Mister. I
Pardon?
think Joe Burrow is going to be a bust.
Yeah, but look what he
I
did this
was.
season. Look what he did this season.
We'll get into that later. I can't wait to
Yeah,
hear
look what
what
he
you
did
have to
this.
say.
I can't. I'm a man. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong.
Well, I mean, nah, it's all right. Washington football team, we're kind of in the mix for the last couple of weeks, but a lot of unfortunate circumstances kind of derailed their season, whether it had to do with injuries or the COVID-19 pandemic that we're still dealing with only 2 years later. And it's taken its toll on a lot of teams, but more specifically at the wrong time. And that has been for the football team, which we can only say for about 30 more days because there will be a new name and team. I'm very, very excited to hear what they have to say. Apparently, they're going to be like the jerseys what I've seen are going to be pretty clean.
Really?
Yeah, they dropped a little teaser video this morning on their Twitter page. If take a look, it's kind of sweet. And
I'm gonna have to
the
take a look at
helmets look pretty good too. Even though it's pretty hard to make those colors look nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're two. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did have a lot of injuries and COVID outbreaks on the team. They lost 5 straight games because of these injuries. And these, I'm just gonna list some names, and these are just the people that like a bunch of fans would know. But there's a whole longer list of injuries and COVID on this team. But you had Fitzmagic near the beginning of the season hurt his hip. Antonio Gibson, your star running back, out with COVID, and then your backup running back J.D. McKissick, who's been a stellar performer too, has a concussion. You have Logan Thomas, who tore his ACL, who came back and then got injured again.
Yeah, the next game.
Yeah, Flowers has COVID. Chase Young tore his ACL. John Bostic hurt his pec, and Landon Collins hurt his foot, and they're all on the IR. So they're not playing. They've been out for a long time and just taking its toll because they're above the Eagles for quite some time. But like I said, they've lost 5 in a row. So that means they were 6-5 until their losing streak, and now they're 6-10.
It's ups and downs of a season, and it just happened at the wrong time.
Exactly.
And I think there's more of an issue than it sees on paper, because if you saw last week, Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen get into a little bit of an argument on the sideline against the Cowboys, like when they got absolutely smacked 56-14, I want to say the score was.
There's a lot of big high scoring games.
Yeah. So I think there's more issues that we failed to see in Washington, but it's a really shame because I really like Ron Rivera as a head coach. But rumors are swirling that they might be making a trade for Baker Mayfield in the offseason.
No, they're not.
And that would include the 9th overall pick.
And you're excited about that? I thought Baker was the prodigal.
Dumb, stupid, or dumb?
Not Baker with the prodigal child, bro. What?
He's only got the rookie touchdown record. No big deal. The Seattle Seahawks, for at least in our lifetime, have always been the crown jewel of the NFC West. And for the first time in the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era, which is only about a decade.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
This will be their first losing season.
Yeah, and it's just awful to see with the team that they have and what they've created there. And even Russ said at the beginning of the season, in the offseason, he said, you guys need to protect me. You got to build around me so I have time to throw the ball or like run the ball, because he can still use his legs kind of. He's getting older, but I just feel like his decision making is not there not as great as it used to be. He has these weapons in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and you saw last game when he went to Metcalf against, it was against the Lions. I'll give him that, but when he went to DK Metcalf, he caught the ball and he got 3 touchdowns. All you had to, he's a big body. He's going to get up there and get the ball. I don't know why he doesn't do that every game and just abuse him, but he chooses not to. And I just hear about it from my dad. He's a big Seahawks fan too. It's just awful to see. You had Russ, the MVP favorite for that first half of the season last year, and then he got injured. I think maybe his injury. Everyone's saying that his fingers.
Well, that definitely played a factor into their record, because they
still said it's not the same.
Your MVP on your team misses a third of the season, you're not going to have the record that you think you're going to have.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you talk about how you think there should be more deep shots happening, and you've already mentioned how crap their offensive line is. You don't have the time to throw the ball if you're getting sacked every time.
I'm saying, so they got to just fix something there. I know it's not all Russ's fault, but the just management just poor there, and I can't believe what are they, 6-10?
Yeah, and this is going to be their first losing season in the Russell Wilson Pete Carroll era, so they're not used to losing very much.
No, neither is Mike Tomlin. Just going to throw that out there too.
Well, you already talked about, okay, so the AFC we're going to talk about next. And I would say a shock to most that this team is the number 1 seed going into the last week of the regular season.
Yeah.
If you were to tell me in week 1 that the Tennessee Titans would have that spot, I would say that you're wrong. Because I would say, like, no disrespect to Tennessee and anyone who's a fan of Tennessee, but I think they're one of the more relevant teams in the NFL.
I would agree. And they don't have Derrick Henry, and they're still the top of the AFC, right?
Yeah,
So
like if you tell me to name all of the NFL teams, I would say the 31st or 32nd team I'm mentioning is the Tennessee Titans.
really,
I don't know
really,
if that's because they've been around or they've changed their name or they really haven't done much in the last 5, 10, 15 years. Like
True.
that's really notable. I know CJ2K, if you remember that from 2009, he was pretty sweet. And Steve McNair in 99 losing by a yard in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of on the back burner, but I really can't ignore that their star running back is probably the best in the NFL and Derrick Henry. And like you said, they're first place and they haven't had Derrick Henry for almost 2 months.
And he's probably going to be back for playoffs. They're trying to get him back. It's not guaranteed or anything, but if he's back for playoffs, that's just going to be an even scarier sight to see when he's on the field.
Do you believe in Ryan Tannehill?
I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think, like, I was going to make a little segment here. I was going to do pretenders and contenders.
Okay, so I'll wait for it then. Don't worry. I wanted to talk about
no. I said I was going to. I didn't write it down. I'm just saying I was going to do it earlier, but I didn't do it. I'm just saying Tennessee was one of the pretenders, I think.
Really? So 1 seed as a pretender? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I think they could definitely benefit from a first round bye and get Derrick Henry another week to get ready. Yeah. And I think that's going to be so beneficial because realistically, like I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but they had a 20-some point lead against the Chiefs and blew it.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, they know they can do it. It's just, they just got to manifest it. But their second wide receiver on the depth chart, Julio Jones, if you were to tell me that this guy will not have a touchdown, I would be lying.
He doesn't have a touchdown?
0.
But he's also because of his hamstring, like it's always bothering him. He can't play.
Yeah, hamstring Julio, right? That's what the boys say. Right? That's right, yeah. One of the divisions that's still up for grabs is the AFC East. Buffalo beating New England 2 weeks ago, got themselves into the division lead again. And those two still have the same record, 10-6. And if the season were to end today, those two will be playing each other in the playoffs.
Really? Well, that'd be a great game to watch.
Absolutely. And it would be in Buffalo. Just
because
Western New York fans that watch. But Bills play the Jets, Pats play the Dolphins. Pats a little bit harder game to play with, but Dolphins don't have much to play for anymore. So who do you have win the division?
I just because of the Bills playing the Jets, like you just said, I think they're gonna win. The Dolphins, I don't know if they're gonna go out there and try. Well, obviously both teams are probably going to try to beat their rival so they don't make it, or don't get that top seed. But I'm thinking the Bills. What do you think?
Yeah, I would second that because New York Jets. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Like they're not going to put up a fight.
Speaking of not putting up a fight, I don't think the Jaguars are putting much of a fight up against the Colts next week. But I have heard stats rolling around that the Colts have yet to beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville for the last 6 tries.
Oh, thanks for jinxing it.
Yeah. So they are 0-6 in or playing away games in against Jacksonville because one of those games was in London.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it never say never for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but how realistic is it? Because I would love to hear it out of your mouth.
It's realistic. I believe in Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Great university. But I think he can do it. I don't like the whole narrative around Jacksonville that Trevor Lawrence is a bust, because I don't think he's a bust. I don't think he has any weapons around him or anything around him. If you're watching this game against who was he playing? Who did they play last week?
They got blown out against New England.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I was like,
50
what game was that? It was that awful game. But he threw a pick or something, and that's because it went through the receiver's hands. It was right in his hands, went through the receiver's hands, and then the guy was running back. I forgot who picked it off. The guy was running back, trying to bring it back, and the guy who made the tackle to stop him was none other than Trevor Lawrence himself. So I think this guy he just needs some weapons around him, needs some help around him. And I'm not going to say they're going to flip the switch like that and become a contender next year, but they just need to get some help around them. And I think they can be a close to 500 team and not this 2-14 nonsense.
Yeah, I wish that the NFL could change the rules on interceptions, because I think it's definitely not on the quarterback's fault to see an interception happen if it goes through receiver's hands.
Yeah.
But I know that's a judgment thing and it's open to interpretation and whatever have you not. But I would like to see that change. But the NFL's no fun league for a reason. But I do agree with you. I think Trevor Lawrence is definitely can't be labeled as a bust now. It's only his first season, and you want to see what kind of talent he has to work around in Jacksonville. It's definitely
not there,
down to the bottom of the barrel. And to have the coach he had too in his first year, a first-year head coach, never had any experience in the NFL, and do what the coach did to the locker room and his players is definitely shouldn't happen for a number one overall pick to have to deal with. And I think they're going to get it right in the offseason, because I'm hearing that Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl winning coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, is definitely the highest candidate to land that job. And they're going to get obviously a very high draft pick going into 2022 season. And they definitely should have a lot more draft capital in the upcoming weeks to gain. Probably the biggest game on the Sunday slate. It's going to be the Sunday night game too.
Yeah,
and it's the Las Vegas Raiders against the Los Angeles Chargers. Winner gets in to the playoffs. Malcolm, how in the blue moon are the Raiders even here?
I don't even know. I'm not even gonna lie. I forgot that they're contending for a spot. And when I was looking at all the playoff scenarios like 2 weeks ago, I was like, wait, the Raiders are still in? I don't know how they're still in. Because they've just been atrocious to watch. I thought they were like Derek Carr, I thought was having an awful year, but I guess not. He's doing just fine. And then did you see Dobbs
that is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about their on-field performance.
Their on-field
about their
off-season issues. Like, how did they not learn after so much shit has happened with their teammates, their former teammates now? How like these guys not learn like DUI is probably like the most common thing on this team right now. And how do you not learn you can't be doing that? This guy was sleeping in a parking lot ramp or something like at the wheel. I'm like what is I just don't know how they're contending with all these.
Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, that Hobbs guy that just came out this week, and John Gruden, and this team is still 9-7.
I don't know. They're finding a way.
Derek Carr should be getting MVP talk.
MVP.
He really should. He should not. He's not going to win, but he should get votes for how.
I'm watching him. I'm not even like
how this. I don't know how he's doing it. Like they're 9-7. Winning, you're in. They control their own destiny. Don't need any help other than themselves. And their coach, I wish I could remember his name, but he was a special teams coordinator, and then he was upgraded to be that coach. He should be getting coach of the year talk too, of how he's getting this team to be 9-7. It's unbelievable.
If the Colts do end up losing, then both teams, people are saying both teams should just take a knee 15 times and tie the game because they'll both get it.
Yeah,
do you think that would happen? I don't think that would happen.
Absolutely not. Because, well, I mean, they would know because the Colts are a 1:00 game.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that would, I don't know. I
don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people higher up in the NFL that are whispering in their ear saying, don't do that because those people want. That would probably be the quickest game in NFL history.
They'd be like, okay, we're not going to play this game. These guys made the playoffs. You really could do that.
Yeah, it's not show up or protesting. It's an end of the tie. That would be something else. But realistically, who's the better team on paper, the Raiders or the Chargers?
The Chargers on paper. So I think they're good. I hope they win because I like them better than the Raiders. Obviously, I think the Raiders are a hard team to like right now with all their stuff going on, like you just mentioned. But I'm surprised that the Chargers aren't as good as aren't better than they are right now. They're 9-7. I thought they were going to be contending for that.
They were really, really hot to open the season. They beat the Chiefs. I think they were 5-1 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And
leading the division.
They were talking about them, being the division winners.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be it too, and they just kind of fell off a little bit.
I think this team is still pretty young. I mean, Justin Herbert's only in his second year.
Yeah,
may be as it is, but their rookie left tackle, Rashawn Slater, probably the best left tackle in football this year. He's going to be an all-pro, is a rookie. And I have question marks in their secondary too. I like Chris Harris a lot, and I like Derwin James, but really no one else has really made a whole lot of contribution on the team. And the pass rush, Joey Bosa's there obviously, but everybody else is kind of old and aged. So, and I think that's why they put up a lot of points, but they also give up a lot of points.
And they don't have Melvin Ingram anymore. That was a mistake letting him go. And they
Oh,
went to
speaking of letting Marvin, you would know a thing or two
yeah, I would
about
know. The
letting.
Steelers know. I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, you said AFC North. Again, you were to tell me Cincinnati Bengals would be the division winners of this team. This division would be. I would be like, I would believe you.
I was honestly putting the Browns above the Bengals in my prediction. Like for the chances to win the division, I thought the Browns would have a better chance than the Bengals. I thought the Bengals would be dead last, and they're fucking first in the division. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, like you said, you can chirp me all you want now. Joe Burrow's not a bust. I'm wrong. I can eat my words now. But what does he have? Over 4,500 passing yards, 34 touchdowns. And then Jamar Chase, what's the record? Is it like the all-time rookie record he has right now?
Yes.
With 1,300 receiving yards. Like that's, and then 13 touchdowns. That's just ridiculous. And I think it's a big thing. Don't you think it's the LSU connection?
Yeah, I think it definitely has something to do with it.
That's all it is, I think.
Yeah, sure. But very, very folk hero like to see that game, have Joe Burrow having his nameplate ripped off his jersey and leading the Bengals. Man, 3rd and 27. 3rd and 27. And he was
that catch.
Like, come on.
Down there.
I don't get it, man. I don't know. Kansas City is supposed to be the best team in the AFC, you know, but 3rd and 27, man. 3rd and 27.
They did get there's a lot of flags and whistles.
Yeah, that was a very exciting finish, to tell you the truth. I mean, because a lot of stuff was right on the line still, because that division I still think was the most fun to watch in the season because of how many teams were so close for so long. And everyone was just bunched up for the last 5 or 6 weeks. Everyone had a very easy chance of winning the division or getting first in the division at one point or another.
Yeah, it was.
But Cincinnati at 10-6 will hold down that division and make it into the playoffs for the first time in 2015. I do believe they will have the longest, in at least the teams that are making the playoffs, the longest active playoff drought without a win, because they have yet to win in the 21st century.
That's surprising. Not really though. I just remember, I think the last time I remember watching their game was against
like the Marvin Lewis Cincinnati Bengals never won a playoff game.
That's ridiculous.
Never did.
What was the last game I think I remember was them playing Pittsburgh when someone clocked Antonio Brown. Yeah, when they killed Antonio Brown. That was a great game to watch.
Yeah, that was definitely some old school football.
No, 100%.
Now, I'm sure this has been waiting on.
Yeah.
Everybody's back. Welcome. I haven't seen this guy smile so big in a very long time. But to his chagrin, the Cleveland Browns were eliminated on Sunday due to the Denver Broncos losing to the LA Chargers. And again, the Cincinnati Bengals being the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
A lot went wrong this year. A lot did. I wish I had the stats up for you now because I was meaning to do that. But if you were putting this season, the blame on Baker Mayfield, the sole reason why they were so bad or not going to finish with a 500 record this year, all on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield, I think you're wrong. Because I'm not saying this is the sole reason. I will say Baker did not play well this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a secret. It's not in denial. He did not play bad. Yeah. But to play 3/4 of the year with the torn labrum, with that harness on his shoulder, I think definitely hurt his performance throughout the season. And I think that does not fall on Baker Mayfield. That falls on the coaching staff. How you think that this player gives you the best chance to win for more than half the season is beyond me. Because you have a very capable backup in Case Keenum, who I don't know if you remember was in the NFC Championship game not too long ago.
And you won it.
And who was his offensive coordinator when they were in the NFC Championship game? That would only be his head coach right now, and Kevin Stefanski. So he knows that Case Keenum is very capable of leading this team. And it's really not a secret of what their strength is. And it's not throwing the football. It's number 24, who barely played Monday night.
I'm saying if you watched it, I was waiting for them to just run it with Chubb. And they were just, and I'm even going to say this too. I can agree with you. It's not on Blake. It's not all on Baker, because if you watch the game last night, the passes that he was throwing to his wide open receivers and running backs and tight ends, and the amount of drops that they had was ridiculous. Like they were dropping. I was so happy though, obviously, but
Yeah,
they were dropping every single wide open pass. I was like, okay, yeah, this can't be on Baker. You can't blame Baker for giving them a perfect pass wide open and they're dropping it. It's tough to watch though. I don't know. Nick Chubb's Pro Bowler, just hand him the ball, right? Just like you said.
So I believe it
It's
was
bad.
week 6 when Baker Mayfield tore his labrum.
Week 6.
And I would like you to listen to the games before
Okay.
him tearing his labrum and the
Okay.
games after tearing his labrum.
Okay.
2 picks before tearing his labrum. After 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12.
Holy.
12 interceptions. Games with over 200 yards passing, all but 1 before week 6.
Oh.
After 3, 4.
Yikes.
So it's definitely, I think it has all to do with the torn labrum, but this is all going to be up on his shoulders next year because he's going to be 100% healthy and he's going to be having to perform like he did the last, I would say they were 3-1 through 4 games.
Yeah.
They were 3-1. Like, how can you be so, like, they weren't terrible in the start of the season, but Baker not playing well. And I think poor coaching too. Like, if you want to chalk it up to not having, I think the graphic yesterday was when Chubb was on the field, they were averaging 6 yards per play. And
Saw
when
that,
he
yeah.
really wasn't, it was 3.5 yards per play. So they got to get back to their identity, and that's running the football, because whether you want to hear it or not, they had a top 10 defense this year. And their offense let them down.
Yeah. And
So
you're right.
trading Odell Beckham Jr., I always thought that they were a better team without him. And they're going to have to, I think they're going to have to draft a receiver this year in the draft because they're going to have a top 15 pick. And there's some 3 good receivers, George Pickens, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson. Not biased. Big Ohio State receivers, not a big deal.
Olave, eh?
Yeah. And they're going to have to shake it up. But you know what? I also want to mention this too, because this is definitely the first year in a long, long time that this thing that Cleveland Browns fans were not planning on having for a while, but after they play last year, making it to the divisional game, you know what was the one thing that Browns fans had for this team?
What?
Expectations.
That's true.
So that's why this is being blown up, because a lot was put on this team to do damage and make it far into this season, which is normally not the case with the Cleveland Browns. And this was the first year, and I would say 25 years, that there were expectations.
Yeah, I would agree. I was like you said, like I told you earlier, I was expecting them to be ahead of Cincinnati for sure. Like I was expecting that. So I don't know. It's just poor decision making. I think that you guys should have kept OBJ. I know you believe that you're a better team without him. I think he's still, obviously, if you look at the team he's on now, it's getting help from a lot of star players, but he's still a star receiver. And I think he could have made a few more extra plays for you guys, maybe down the stretch. Maybe if you guys, like you said, if you had better coaching, maybe they would have done something, but it is what it is now. And
it's going to be a very interesting offseason.
You think they're going to bounce back next year?
Yeah. Healthy Baker. They're going to draft a stud receiver. It's going to be.
What if they don't, though? You said poor management. What if they don't get a receiver?
Hey, I like the GM. Like, if you want to look at this team on paper, it's stacked.
It is. Yeah.
So, I mean, signing Jadeveon Clowney was, I think, a very stellar move. And this defense played fantastic this year. Myles Garrett got the franchise record for sacks. Their secondary is very, very good. Defense is not the issue. It's just, it's got to be getting healthy and playing well on offense, because they have no issue stopping.
Or do they draft a new quarterback?
Or just get Russell Wilson in the offseason. So seeding scenarios for the remaining playoff teams. So there is a lot to get at here. So every team really in the AFC that's holding down a division lead, or New England Patriots, all have a viable chance to get the 1 seed in the AFC, excuse me. So the Titans will clinch the number 1 seed, which means home field advantage throughout the playoffs if they just beat the Texans, or a Chiefs loss or tie, a Chiefs loss plus a Bengals loss against the Browns, plus a Patriots loss / tie against the Dolphins, or a Chiefs loss plus a Bengals loss plus a Bills win. Is that the most viable option you see winning the 1 seed? If they just like, is it Tennessee
Just
as
win.
the 1 seed?
Just win, right?
Just win.
That's I almost lost.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of that.
I was trying to follow that, and I was like, maybe they should just win and not rely on all this other
So
stuff.
again, and the very simple. This is pretty simple for the Chiefs to win the 1 seed. All they have to do is win against the Broncos, plus the Texans win against the Titans, or a tie, plus a Titans loss.
Damn.
So they will hold the number 1 seed. If that's the case, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Cincinnati Bengals will have the chance to be the 1 seed if they are able to beat the Browns, plus a Chiefs loss, plus a Titans loss, plus a Patriots loss / tie, or a win, plus a Chiefs loss, plus a Titans loss, plus a Bills win will get them the 1 seed.
No way. What? I can't believe the Bengals could be in the 1 seed. That's crazy.
Yeah. After all they've had to deal with this year, they still have a shot. The Patriots can clinch the 1 seed with a win over the Dolphins, plus a Bills loss / tie, plus a Chiefs loss, plus a Titans loss. That is the only way they can get the 1 seed. Patriots can clinch the division with a win or a tie, plus a Bills loss / tie.
Oh my goodness.
So all teams are pretty much alive to be the 1 seed, except for the Buffalo Bills, but they can still clinch the 2 seed with the win over the Jets.
But why can't they be the number 1?
But they don't have this. They don't have a tiebreaker against the Titans.
Oh,
they do against the Chiefs because they beat them way back when.
Yeah,
but they don't have tiebreakers.
Okay.
The Colts can clinch a playoff spot with the win. Very simple.
Easy.
Or the Chargers lose, plus a Patriots loss, plus a Steelers loss.
That's not happening.
Really? Yes. So the Colts do hold a tiebreaker over the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers and the Raiders both clinch a playoff spot if they win against the other team.
Yeah.
But the Raiders can also clinch if the Colts lose to the Jaguars and they tie against the Chargers, or a Colts loss plus a Steelers loss / tie against the Ravens.
Damn, man. Holy.
And the one you've been waiting to hear is the Steelers. They clinch if they beat the Ravens, if they lose, if the Colts lose, and a Chargers Raiders not ending in a tie.
Just don't go to overtime. Someone blow each other out. Like that's what I'm hoping for.
Realistically, who do you have making it in as a wild card? Because the Patriots have clinched, so there's 2 spots left between the Colts, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Steelers.
Like realistically, I'm not gonna put my bias because obviously I want Steelers to be in, but it's so slim. I think it's gonna be the Colts and the Chargers.
I think it's gonna be the Colts and the Raiders.
You think it's gonna be the Raiders? Wow.
They have in Vegas.
Derek Carr.
I think the Raiders defense is better than the Chargers defense.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Herbert's gonna have to wait 1 more year to make it into the playoffs. But that's gonna be the game of the week. I can't wait to watch that one.
That's gonna be a great game. Yeah.
In the NFC, the Rams will clinch the NFC West Division title simply with the win, or a tie against the 49ers, or the Cardinals lose / tie to the Seahawks. And then the Cardinals clinch the NFC West Division with the win plus a Rams loss. So is it realistic to see?
Close.
Because the 49ers need this game.
Yeah.
So is it realistic to see the Cardinals win the division or the Rams win the division?
It's just so close. When you're saying like those scenarios, I'm thinking it's more likely that the Cardinals win the division. I think. I'm not even gonna lie. What do you think? Clinch NFC with the win.
Right. Yeah. I would say because whoever's losing this game is more or less playing the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to be comfortable playing the Dallas Cowboys, but to see what the Cardinals did to Dallas this last Sunday, I would be pretty content with playing them over the 49ers.
Well, Cardinals
which is realistically going to be the team that they're going to play, the NFC West Division leader. So I don't know how they want to script this out, because you saw this last year with Pittsburgh resting players to get the chance to play Cleveland. And look how that worked out.
Oh, fucking first snap, right? Oh my goodness.
So I don't know. It's very, very interesting to see how those scenarios play out. But I would say the 49ers have more to play for than the Seahawks do. So I think the Rams are going to be in for a much tougher game than what the Cardinals are going to be seeing against Seattle. So, I mean, both teams can obviously win, and then it'd be status quo. So I will say the Rams win the division.
You think the Rams? And you talk about Cardinals playing the Cowboys. Isn't Kyler 9-0 now? 8-0?
Yeah, he's undefeated at AT&T Stadium.
Through high school, college, and the NFL, which is crazy. So I don't think he has a problem playing the.
And they did that without DeAndre Hopkins, which they will have back for the playoffs.
Which was nasty. That was a close game. I was almost shitting my pants watching that game. I hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's most internet fan base in the NFL.
Yeah.
The 49ers clinch a playoff berth simply with a win against the LA Rams.
Easy.
Win or tie, against the Rams, or a Saints loss / tie against the Atlanta Falcons. And then the only team left to be in playoff contention is the aforementioned New Orleans Saints. They will clinch with the win over the Falcons plus a 49ers loss. I've yet to hear who's going to be quarterback for the New Orleans.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know if it's Ian Book looked awful against the Dolphins. I didn't know how short he was. I thought he was like 6'4". He's 6 flat. I was shocked.
Holy.
I was shocked to hear that. But Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, whoever's there, I don't think is going to be making much noise anyway in the playoffs if they get there. But the defense, if they play Tampa Bay, they have a shot.
That's true. In their heads.
Yeah, rent free.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for the NFL playoff scenario. We'll be back next week to have the playoff matchups made up. And hopefully we'll have to see a pretty interesting last Sunday in the NFL regular season. So until then, it's Jacob.
And Colm.